Blessed day, guys, and peace be upon you this morning. So in this video, we're going to learn how to configure spanning tree Portfast, bridge protocol data unit guard, and root guard using Cisco Packet Tracer. So we are going to use this simple topology to implement the tree. Okay. All right. So before we get deep into this, let's open Google spreadsheet and let you know we are in number 10. STP attack prevention. So these are the three technologies that we are going to use to prevent STP attacks. So number 10, STP attack prevention. All right. Okay, so I want us to understand what STP is Portfast, BPDU guard means, and root guard, right? Okay, so I'll open this PPT and let you know that spanning Portfast enables the switch to instantaneously transition from blocking state to forwarding state immediately through bypassing the listening and learning state. Okay, so you know, in most scenario, when you connect any device, let's say I want to connect this computer to this switch. Okay, you see this port here. Here is orange. It will take around 30 to 45 seconds before this port turns to green. So to prevent that kind of a long-term transition, we implement what is called spanning tree Portfast. Okay, all right. So what is BPDU guard? So BPDU guard comes hand in hand with STP Portfast. So in every port that we implement STP Portfast, we have to implement BPDU guard. Okay, this is to, let's read it. Because Portfast can be enabled on non-trunking port connecting switches. Okay, spanning tree loops can occur because bridge protocol data units are still transmitted. Okay, so to prevent that kind of STP loop, we implement what is called bridge protocol data unit guard on the non-trunking port that we did implement Portfast. Okay, so Portfast BPDU guard prevents loop from happening by moving that port from into error disabled state. Okay, so finally, let's understand what root guard means. Root guard means, you know, in every switching in every Ethernet switching topology, it might consist of 4, 5, even 3 switches that are interconnected. Okay, so when 3 or more switches have been interconnected, they have to select what is called a root bridge. Okay, so the root bridge is the one acting as the master of all the switches. So the root guard here will prevent other switches from becoming the master. Okay, we have to select one leader. So the root guard will prevent other switches from becoming the leader. Okay, all right. So you will read all these notes. I'll send them to the email. Okay, and this is how to configure the tree. Very, very simple. Okay, so guys, as my culture, I always write configuration steps that you're going to involve in every class. Okay, all right. So I'll open it again. We have to draw the necessary topology, decorate and comment. So as you can see here, I've drew this topology here. I'll draw this topology. Okay, and you can see on the left here we have this NAND root bridge. On the right we have this root bridge, and here also we have this NAND root bridge, and we want to include another new switch with a lower priority. Okay, so how do you identify a root bridge here? A root bridge is identified by a switch that has all its interfaces in forwarding state, and it can reach all the switches in the topology. For example, this switch here, it cannot reach this switch directly. Okay, also this switch here, it cannot reach this switch directly. So it's only this switch that can reach this switch and this switch. So this become our root bridge. So it's the switch with the lowest priority or lowest MAC address. Okay, so in this scenario, I want to challenge it by introducing another switch with the lowest priority. You remember, a root bridge is selected based on the switch with the lowest priority or the lowest MAC address. Okay, in this scenario here, the priority is the same, so this is the switch with the lowest MAC address. Okay, but now I have to include the one with the lowest priority, so this one will be considered. Okay, so I have to configure root guard on this switch to prevent this switch from becoming the leader. Okay, because we assume that this is our leader. We've synchronized our network and I've made a conclusion that this should be our leader in the network, and no any other leader should be considered. Okay, so that's why we have to configure a root guard on this switch to prevent this one from becoming the leader. Okay, all right, so we are going to configure BPDU guard and Portfast on these ports. Any port that is connecting host devices, non-trunking ports, any non-trunking port, we are going to configure as we're going to configure Portfast and BPDU guard, right? All right, so let's go back to our configured, identify trunk ports and configure them. Okay, then you're being told to identify the root bridge first. We have already identified that this is our root bridge. Okay, all right, so let's configure trunk ports. So on this switch here, we're going to configure, this is FA2, FA1, FA1, FA2, and finally FA1 and FA2 and FA1. So it's very simple. We just start with writing enable config t interface range, because there are two interfaces and we want to configure same parameter. We do this interface range FA0/1 to 2, then we just say switch port mod trunk, and we are done. That's all. We go back to the switch and we do it very fast to save time. Okay, all right. So let's go to step 3. Identify non-trunk ports or access ports on switch 0 and switch 1 and configure them with Portfast and BPDU guard. So guys, this was part of the main concern today, how to configure Portfast and BPDU guard. We have to configure them on non-trunking ports, non-trunk ports or access ports. In this topology, let's assume this is switch 0 and this is switch 1. So we're going to do it on this switch and only in this switch. Okay, so non-trunking ports are other ports other than FA1, FA2 and FA1. Okay, so any other port should be non-trunking port. Okay, all right, so we just go to that switch and say interface range FA0/3 to 24. There are 24 ports on a switch, so I just go that way. Interface range FA0/3 to 24, because 1 and 2 was used as trunk, and also gig 01 to gig 02. So I just want to copy this and paste to all other switches, and I hit enter. Then we just say switch port mod to be access, and we hit enter. Okay, and now how do we configure a spanning tree, Portfast and BPDU guard? So the first thing that you just say spanning tree Portfast. Okay, then what do you do? We just say spanning tree again. After issuing this command spanning tree Portfast, we just issue another command that's called spanning tree Portfast BPDU sorry, spanning tree. Let me query spanning tree BPDU enable. Good. So just say spanning tree BPDU enable, just like we did here. Spanning tree BPDU enable. All right, and you hit enter. Then you exit. After exiting, now you enable spanning tree Portfast and spanning tree BPDU guard globally. How do you do it? You just say spanning tree Portfast to be default. Okay, then spanning tree BPDU Portfast BPDU default. That's all. Very simple, very simple. And we're just done. We just go to this switch again, and what do? You enter that range. That range was FA0/3 to 24, and also gig 01 and gig 02. After doing this, you make them access ports, switch port mode access. And you're done. You can do right. Also on this side, you come and do right. Good. So let's go back to step 4. Configure root guard between switch 1 and switch 3 to prevent switch 3 from becoming root switch. Remember, we said that a switch with the lowest priority will become the root bridge or the root switch. Okay. To prevent that switch from becoming the root bridge, you have to implement root guard. And how do we implement root guard? We connect this switch to this switch. Let's say FA1. I take that, I connect it. Let's say FA1 on this side and FA4 on that side. Okay. So the first thing you do, you make a trunk first, because we want to configure a root guard between this switch and this switch. So you have to make this one trunk first, right? Okay. So this is FA4. I come to this switch and I say interface FA0/4. Switch port mode to be trunk. Okay. After making a trunk, and just say spanning tree root, spanning tree, just a minute, guard root, yeah, spanning tree to guard root, and you hit enter. That's all. You just enter that interface, for example this one, then you make a trunk, then you say spanning tree guard root. That's all. Exit and do right. So this switch here will never become the root bridge in our topology here, because we've told this switch here to not accept any other leader apart from this leader. Okay. All right. Okay, so the next step is to display spanning tree Portfast information on switch 0 and switch 2 and switch 1, I mean. So we just go here and we just say show spanning tree, let me query spanning tree interface. We configured interface from FA1, FA3 to FA24. So you can choose any interface, let's say FA0/4. Okay, then we query Portfast and we hit enter. You can see Portfast is enabled. Okay, and also you can just say spanning show spanning tree as summary. You can see here as the two are enabled. Portfast default and Portfast BPDU guard default are enabled in this switch. Okay. All right. So and also if I can go back to this switch and also say, just say do show spanning tree summary, you will see the same thing. Portfast and BPDU guard is enabled on the switch. And we said, guys, that if we try to bring another switch here, let's say attacker is trying to attack our network using any of these ports. So I'm going to take the cable, connect to this switch and try to connect to this switch. You will see what will happen. You will see just a minute. And also previously we said that, oh, let me discuss this first. You see it's blocked because we've said that this port should only be connected to host computers, not any other switch that will bring spanning tree attacks. Okay, and it cannot access our network. Okay, so let's try the computers. I'll need two computers. One I'll place here and the other one I'll place here. Remember, we configured Portfast and BPDU guard on this switch but not this switch. Okay, So I'll connect this computer here, and I want you to look carefully which one will come up very fast. You can see this is orange still, but whenever I click this one here, you see it has turned green immediately. Even if I can bring some computer, well, this one is still transitioning. You can see I connect this one, I connect that one to this one. It is coming up immediately. The purpose of Portfast, okay, and root BPDU guard. BPDU guard has blocked a switch from connecting to Portfast ports, okay, and I will mark this number 10 as done. So thank you so much, and please subscribe to my channel, share this video, like this video, and drop a comment of appreciation below. Thank you so much, and bye.